to Recovery Lab TV. My name is Chris, I'm your coach and sports therapist, and welcome to another video. Now, apologies for taking so long to create this video, however, I really wanted to test these VivoBiomes as best as I possibly could. Now, as the thumbnail suggests, I've put about 162 kilometers into these shoes already within the first 2 weeks. And I've really tested them in kind of all weathers. We've had sunshine, we've had torrential rain, we've had some storms, I've run on kind of tarmac, the road, pavements, different types of pavements around the UK. So I've kind of really experienced it all. I've gone through kind of clay type mud. I've gone through kind of slippery, soaking wet mud. I've run through kind of morning dew on grass fields and so on and so forth. So I've kind of really tried my best to run in all terrains and all conditions to give these shoes a real fair testing and to kind of really experience the shoe as a whole. Now, I really like them. I think they're a great shoe. I think there's lots of things that can be built upon these shoes. I've compared them to other shoes that I have, like the kind of Primus trail shoes that I kind of are my kind of everyday go-to running shoe, if you will, purely because I like the kind of sole of the shoe, just because it's hard wearing. I cover a lot of miles. And I find that the lights, I tend to kind of wear through the sole of the shoe quite quickly, or quicker than I can afford, should I say. And then I wear kind of the Geos as more of a kind of fashion trainer if I want to kind of look semi-decent and I'm not wearing shorts and t-shirt like normal. Now, these shoes, as you can see, are incredibly bright and kind of incredibly flexible in regards to your foot pattern, your shoe, the sequencing of the shoe. I can pretty much kind of bend it in any other way in regards to sliding it on and off. I can, typical Vivo style, I can roll it up like so and completely crush the shoe. Someone said on a different video that the kind of, compared to the kind of Primus lights, I know these are the trail version, but their kind of twistability from a lateral perspective is slightly less than the light version. However, I quite like the sole in regards to it. Now, compared to, I don't know whether you can see on camera, now you've got this little section, you've got a little kind of groove coming across here and over here, and then you've got a groove coming up there and here, and then across here, and then into the big toe. Now, where I tend to wear the soles of my shoes, as you can see by here, tends to wear a lot more here, a lot more here, and a lot more across the top here from where I run. Clearly need to do more work engaging my big toe as a barefoot runner, barefoot walker, and just everything. So in regards to this trainer that I've had a little bit longer, you can see literally ball of the foot, outside toes, and kind of a bit towards the edge of the heel. The rest of it is fairly kind of consistent in regards to the wear and tear. And then same with these trainers, literally ball, outside, and a bit more the heel. Now, I found, and what was really interesting about these shoes is maybe because of the extra flexibility, maybe because of the better fit, the more custom fit, I wasn't sure if it was a placebo effect or whether it actually was happening, but it'd be really interesting doing a experiment on them in regards to changing the sole, adding these little grooves in to help with foot functionality. Whether it does actually improve foot functionality and whether I'm able to increase my foot engagement, my muscle engagement, neural aspect of foot engagement, and that proprioceptive quality when wearing barefoot shoes or being barefoot in general. Because, and the reason why I'm saying this is when I went running in these, initially my feet felt a little sorer, and my lower limb going in from the soleus into my calf felt it a little bit more in regards to kind of DOMS, so delayed onset of muscular soreness. Felt a little bit more than I would potentially these shoes. Now, I wear Vivobarefoot shoes all the time for kind of everything. I've done 100-mile ultras in them. I've done Ironman races in them. I recently did Ironman Island in them, in these exact pair. Now, what was really interesting is what I found whilst doing longer distances is this texture that they have on the bottom of the insole, this kind of honeycomb texture. After a while, kind of really aches my ball of the foot just by here, where I tend to put a lot of pressure, as you can see in the sole of my trainer. However, because this knitted kind of sock, if you will, actually becomes part of the insole, and it kind of is then glued into the 3D print kind of sole of the trainer. And what I found so far is because they're kind of like just a general sock, I haven't actually had any problems in regards to doing long kind of runs in them and then feeling that pressure on the ball of my foot and on the skin itself. I've done 5-hour runs in them. I've done typically about 10k every day, and then half marathons on the weekend, and then this one Friday I did a 5-hour hike in them. What's concerning for me is potentially how quick I feel. I may be wrong. What I should have done at the start is take a literally before and after photo, but I feel that the bottom is wearing relatively quickly in comparison to these bad boys. Now, I don't know whether it's the texture of the actual 3D print. Now, the closest thing I can relate this to anything is if you've ever done kind of rock climbing. And I thought about this long and hard, because I couldn't put my kind of finger on the actual texture and the feel of it. But the more I thought about it, the more I kind of came to the opinion that it feels like a boulder that you kind of go to a rock climbing center, and that kind of sort of feel. And what's really interesting is if it gets wet, it can be relatively slippery on tiled surface or wood surface, or kind of like a marble flooring, where because it's like a natural product, it tends to hold the moisture for a little bit. So it takes, when obviously drying out your trainers and stuff, I've got absolutely soaking the day before, and the following day the sole where you see the kind of the brown mud stain, if you will, this section is still being a little bit damp to touch because of this kind of organic material, I suppose. What I've also found is as I've run in the past, I've caught myself on the ankle by here, only ever so slightly, by this little kind of section on the toe, and it's more because of my own fault than anything. But what it's done is actually cut my skin, which is quite interesting. Now, because obviously on a trainer like this, it's relatively smooth because it's I assume like a plastic like a rubberized plastic. It's not able to do that, but because this feels like that kind of that bolder texture, it's actually kind of rubbed and kind of taken a bit of skin off here, as you can see, and then on this ankle I've done the same, but it was slightly worse because I wear an anklet and it caught that at the same time and took a chunk of skin off. Now, it's not necessarily a problem, but it's kind of something that, like, if like me, I clearly must kind of arc my feet in ever so slightly and then kind of land more towards the outside of my foot, but it's something that I've had to be aware of because obviously it's painful if I'm doing it all the time. Now, these wings of the shoe, initially, like I said in my last video, I thought that it was gonna be a problem, and since that first run I've only ever felt it once where it's kind of put a bit of pressure on the inside of my foot just by here, where I felt this little nodule over there, but it's not necessarily been an issue, and that was kind of after a long day out in my trainers. Now, I've worn these shoes every single day since they arrived. I've worn them for everything. I've worn them in the gym, I've worn them like I said, running, you name it, kind of out and about, and so on and so forth, and they've held up pretty good. Now, typically I tend to go for dark shoes, purely because of, obviously, it hides the dirt a little bit better. And what would be interesting to see is, obviously, depending on the material they choose to use for this, or if they choose to change the material, is obviously the amount of staining to the bottom of the shoe. Is kind of like, I imagine, the last thing that you want on your trainer all the time, especially with the lighter colours. They're on about potentially the next pair of trainers being like a moon grey, with like a kind of a slate grey type bottom, which will make for a beautiful trainer, but again, I imagine with the lighter colours you're going to show up that dirt and so on. And now, aesthetically, depending on obviously your thoughts and feelings on that, whether it matters or not, I don't know, and that's completely subjective, but it's going to be interesting. I've really enjoyed the shoe. In regards to the fit, what I've been told is they've kind of blind tested a load of us, where obviously the 3D print, the section, the bottom of the shoe, is kind of completely made for each of our feet, and then obviously this top part, this sock part, that you can see at the top. Now, some of us have been told that we've had complete custom fitting. Some of us have been told that we have like a kind of a standardized fit. I believe that I have a standardized fit just because of these little extra fabric by here. Now, personally, I think it would be great, because I used to have a lot of the Nike free run trainers, especially the earlier editions. You didn't have laces on them and you just kind of slid them on like a sock, and that's one of the reasons why I really like the shoe in general, the old Nike free runs. Now, what I think that would be great here is if from the kind of the bottom of the laces here was like a bespoke fit, and then you had a little bit of wiggle room here, just so it wasn't so tight around the toes, because like wearing a pair of tight socks, you kind of want that freedom. I don't know if any of you wear kind of Injinji socks, so the toe kind of base socks. They feel much better when you wear kind of Injinji socks with your free runs or in trainers in general, because you can wiggle and separate your toes. With if you have a pair of tight socks, like I was wearing a pair of performance stance socks the other day, and what I found, whether they're because they were brand new or not, they kind of bunched my toes together. Now, being used to kind of free runs and kind of having that kind of space with the toes and that kind of movability, I suppose that's what you kind of get used to, and you don't really want that. Now, for me, this sock, although this shoe even, although it's incredibly custom fit, you do have a fair bit of room around the edge of the shoe. My toes have come here, so I have maybe a thumb or a finger between the edge of my toe and the shoe itself. Now that's allowed me to not kind of hurt my feet on these runs. I always tend to go a trainer size up with normal conventional running shoes. So I like the fact that it's got a bit more room in the toe box. And then by here it's naturally nice and tight for myself, with still the kind of the space to kind of potentially squish the trainer, bend the trainer, fold the trainer, and allow my feet to kind of really move naturally. Like I said, I haven't had any issues in regards to the run feel or anything like that. I am noticing now that obviously as it gets colder here in Britain, that because obviously it's like a sock, my feet are naturally getting colder, which is kind of understandable because of there's less padding than some of the trainers out there, so that thermal kind of state, and whether they kind of look to do kind of winter variations or not. I would love for them to do a trail variation with maybe collaborating 3D printing with the Michelin style bottoms and the swim run style bottoms, because I think the grip on those trainers are incredible. And what I have found with the soles of these trainers is the more I wear them, the grip tends to get better. When I first started, I was a little bit apprehensive, I'm not gonna lie, because I have a wood floor kind of downstairs to my house. And naturally, like I said, it didn't really do well on wood flooring, kind of tile flooring as well, and then that kind of marble flooring, depending on if you really fancy. So I kind of could feel a bit of that kind of slip and slide, if you will. But as I've kind of run more on the road and more on tarmac and stuff, it's kind of like furred up the edges and made it a little bit rougher. And now the grip has been great. It held up well running on some trails when kind of running across a kind of moist mud, if you will, or dry mud as well. Naturally, because of the style of training it is, it's not designed for kind of wet, slippery, slidey kind of up the beacons that I've kind of been and tested up there as well. So it's been interesting, and I hope to kind of share with you the progress of their kind of next variation, their next prototype. When that releases, it's going to be interesting to see how kind of Vivo take our feedback and kind of bring that into the mix. What I found interesting is in most of our group, I believe, I could be completely wrong, and if I am, by all means let me know, but a lot of the people in the group are generally gym users, kind of active people, but less of them are kind of your endurance runners and your kind of ultra endurance athletes. For me, I kind of want to bring Vivo into that world, just because I want to kind of experience barefoot running shoes in that world. There's a couple of guys, like I mentioned last time in the running world, in my last video, that kind of that all natural guy. He has done more running than I have in Vivos, and kind of set some records and so on and so forth. So I'd be interested to hear his take on the shoe itself and what his thoughts are on the sole of the shoe. For me, I'm not the richest, so therefore spending a couple of £100 on a pair of trainers to get that bespoke fit is going to be really important in regards to its wear and tear. I completely I'm all in regards to its sustainability and the approach that they're trying to do in regards to getting your foot printed, like scanned, the shoes getting printed and made, you then have them delivered to your house, you kind of wear the life out of them, and then naturally you send them back, they get deconstructed, reused, remade, and then sent back to you again. I love that approach. I think more companies should do more to kind of enhance that sustainability and the development of shoes and kind of every product in general. However, for me, if it's going to mean then every 3 months I'm kind of buying a brand new pair of shoes because of the amount of running I'm going to do, then it's going to limit me being able to be a part of this kind of particular setup, and it's going to kind of get me going back more towards this type of shoe, just because I'm going to need something that lasts a little bit longer, you know. But I'm hoping, and I know that kind of Vivo are looking to, I imagine, develop all of their shoe range into this kind of custom fit, custom feel shoe. And as technology evolves and as technology is enhanced, I imagine way down the line and in the future, you'd rock up to your shop, you'd have it there, and then the whole thing would be custom printed and collected on the day. But you're talking way down the line. But sorry about that. As it goes, my battery died. But like I was saying, I imagine that'll be way down the line in regards to the future of kind of shoe making, shoe printing, bespoke 3D printed shoes. But I'll be really interested to see where this goes. This is, like I said before, the prototype 1 of this entire journey for both myself and for Vivobarefoot as a company. But what I think they've created so far is absolutely incredible. The shoe feels absolutely amazing. It's made me want to run faster. It's made me feel a lot more. It's made me kind of look at my training and my training plans and my recovery strategies, so I can remain injury free and also maximize both myself and the ability to run in these shoes. And for me also, like I kind of am really interested in this journey because next year when I do the continuous triple triathlon by Brutal Events, it's a ultra endurance triathlon consisting of 7.2 mile swim, 336 mile bike ride, and a 78 mile run. I want to be able to hopefully wear the third prototype on that course, running that race. So I'm really interested, I'm really invested in this journey, and I'm hoping that the trainers can live up to my expectations, so I can put them through their paces, and then in turn hopefully dismay some of the people's beliefs that you have to wear the latest Nike free kind of trainers, and by all means the science behind those is incredible, but as an alternative for those looking to kind of do more natural barefoot running style of running, that I want to kind of showcase that that's possible too. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, by all means please ask. I hope it's helped. Some of you guys, they've messaged me about how much space is around the toe box. So literally where my foot is there, you've got a bit of space this side, you've got a bit of space there, and then literally kind of pretty much around the toe box is pretty much a thumb width between your toes and so on. Now I know some of you have struggled in regards to knowing how big your feet are when you're running, doing acceleration, de-acceleration drills and so on and so forth, but honestly I've not had a problem with these, and they felt absolutely great. So if you have any questions, by all means write in the comment section, let me know below. If you can, hit that subscribe button, become a part of the community, and yeah, hope to see you soon. Take care.